Yo, this is Abdullah Konte with Win Sports, and I'm here with another episode. Wanted to talk a little bit about each position group with a segment I'm calling Questions and Answers. I feel like we're learning a lot about this team, each game, each practice, and I think some things we're learning as confirmation, and other things we're learning as things that are still holes within the squad. And I think there's more questions that come and arise from each part of each position group. And, you know, being out on the field, it's been great. You know, sometimes we get like a inside look on some things, but ultimately there's still a lot of things we don't know. And I think that there's room for debate on some of the stuff that's going on with the squad, and just kind of want to talk about what I've been seeing or what my opinion is in regards to each part of this team. So, you know, the first position group obviously is quarterback, and the question that I have for this quarterback group is, who's quarterback number 3, and does it matter? And I think the biggest thing is that it shouldn't matter if Mariota is healthy, but you know, so far we don't really know. He's shown up in practice the last couple days. You know, we haven't really. I don't know if we've ever heard exactly what the injury is, but he's been out there recently, so that's a good sign. The thing that's not such good news is that the quarterbacks behind him have not played at super high levels, and I think at this point we would say that Josh Johnson is the number 3 quarterback, and Sam Hartman's probably going to hit practice squad. But if it does come down to one of those guys having to play, if Mariota isn't hurt, does it matter? Yes, because it's concerning. Will they win many games? I would have to say I don't think so. I just think that, you know, there's a big gap between the first 2 quarterbacks and those 2. So does it matter? Honestly, I think if it gets to that point, people are going to be kind of dejected on the season. So let's just hope that most of these guys can stay healthy. Let's hope that we never have to think about who's coming in for Jaden. Let's just hope that he is able to, you know, protect himself and keep healthy throughout the season. So the second question, or I guess this would be an answer for me, is on the running back position. And I think they're going to be okay without B-Rob. I mean, as of right now, B-Rob hasn't been traded since when I'm recording this. I don't know if it sounds like a trade is imminent. Like, it sounds like something's happening relatively soon. I think that initially when they discussed the shopping of him, I didn't think that there would be much traction or much ability to trade him, even if they were going to do it. Because I think when they first announced it, I wasn't sure if it was really happening or not. Most people didn't think that they'd be able to get much. But, you know, it seems like there's a lot of interest, not just around the league, but just because there's been a lot of teams that are struggling with injuries at that position. It looks like Miami's a big team that really looks like they might be trying to take advantage of this market and maybe jump in. And so I do think a trade will happen. I was thinking he'd probably just get cut before, but now it's leaning and seeming more like a trade is going to happen, and they're probably just vetting those opportunities. But outside of that, look, the way these other running backs have been running, I don't think it's just one guy that's taking over. Like, I know everybody loves Bill right now. I'm not saying Bill isn't going to get a good amount of carries. I just think it's going to be a collective effort. I think you're going to see a lot of C-Rod. I think they're going to hold 4 running backs. I know there's a debate on is it going to be 3 or 4. I think they're going to hold 4 running backs. I think it'll be C-Rod, McNichols, Eckler, and Bill. And I think it's just going to be, you know, whoever has the hot hand that day. So I do think the answer there, though, I really do think that they're going to feel comfortable moving forward. And then that goes to the receiver group. You know, who is going to be the reliable player? That's my question. I mean, we don't. This Terry thing is still going on, and you know, as much as people want to say that it didn't really matter, the whole "Where's Waldo" comment by DQ. I just think he's a little frustrated. Maybe it's because he has no control over it, or maybe it's just because they're just all tired of this conversation. I know that. I mean, the people who are covering this team are tired of it. I think everybody's tired of it. The fans, I'm sure Adam Peters is tired of it. I think everybody just wants it to be done. And, if he can't go and if Noah Brown can't go, who do they rely on? And I mean, I think Jalen Lane is outside of Debo for sure. Look, I'm telling you, if you guys play fantasy football, get Debo. He's going to be somebody who's undervalued right now. He's looked great. Obviously, we saw him in the game. He looked good in that game. And I just think that, but outside of him, who is going to be that next guy in line? I think Jalen Lane is probably like your best bet. But we just don't know. Is there anybody really reliable? And I think you got to throw the tight ends in there too. I think Zach Ertz is reliable. So if we're going to have an answer to that question, I would say yes because of Zach Ertz. But, tight end is great, but we do need to see some activity on the outside. You know what I mean? There's no strong deep threat player right now, and they are having to play Jalen Lane on the outside because of it. And I still think he's more of a slot guy than an outside guy, but they got to do what they got to do. So if we move to O-line, my answer, or I guess it would be a question still, is this offensive line elite? Can it be elite? And I was pretty impressed with how they looked, going into that game or coming out of that game. But Connerly looks very, very comfortable. For all the doubts that people had, at the beginning of this training camp till now, I mean, he's starting to feel comfortable. And we got to remember he's switching from left side to right, so maybe that is just him getting more comfortable with being on that side. But the O-line just in general looked really good. And I get it. It's Cincinnati, and their defense isn't known to being great. But they also didn't play Coleman, Cosme, or Laramie Tunsil. So, I mean, that just gives all the reasons to believe that this O-line has potential to be one of the tops in the league. And for those who are worried about B-Rob, having a good O-line will give any of these running backs an opportunity to score. Because look, even the Bill run, I mean, it was great to see him blow, have that speed, him and that C-Rod, big run at the beginning of the game. They were great runs, but if you really look at how the O-line played, those were great holes to run through. So, my answer for D-line is that this is an underrated bunch. I know that there has been some speculation about Kinlaw and some of these guys they brought in, Jacob Martin. I mean, did you guys see Kinlaw and Jacob Martin rush the passer? Dorrance Armstrong looked incredible. Like this, the D-line is underrated, but I think that they are going to be the surprise bunch of the season. I think that, losing some people on the D-line, like Jonathan Allen from last year, Dante Fowler Jr., I know there's concern because it's like, who do they bring in that can replace those guys? And Kinlaw looked really good to me. Jacob Martin was running like a madman. Dorrance Armstrong looked good. He was playing some D tackle as well and some rush packages. And we didn't even see Von Miller play. So getting that, I'm so curious to see how they perform this year. And I just definitely think they're the most underrated part of the team overall. When we move to linebackers, my question is, are these depth players going to be contributors? Like, I mean, is there a big gap between the starting guys and the guys behind, Bobby and Frankie? Jordan McGee hasn't been healthy, so we don't know. You got Duke Riley who's come in. He made a little plays, a few plays in the preseason game. You have Cajo, who's the kid from UCLA, the former 5-star, him and Medrano. Are these guys going to be reliable? There's a lot of, I'm just not quite sure. I think that these are players that are somewhat projects that they're going to be working on. It seems like they have a lot of people that they believe have potential, but there's not really a piece that you feel super confident in if either Bobby or Frankie were to somehow get hurt, and so I think depth is a concern at backer. I really do. And we'll see what happens throughout the season. It might not be relevant. It might be kind of the same thing like the quarterbacks. Like, does it matter? Because if those two guys are playing the whole year, it really won't matter. Those guys have been elite. They are both, viewed as top 10 linebackers in the league. So it might not be relevant whatsoever. And then moving on to the DBs, I'm confident to say that this is the best group out of all the position groups. That's how I feel. That's my answer on who's the best group. The DBs. And you saw Will Harris make plays. You saw Quan Martin was all over the field. You could argue that Sanders still is maybe one of the most important pieces on the whole defense. I mean, Lattimore has been playing at a higher level for sure, and we haven't seen Amos. And I think that's one thing I would be worried about is Amos okay? But even so, Noah I has played great this training camp. And, I was impressed with the way they played in that game. I thought even the touchdown, they had really good, strong defense throughout that first drive. And I mean, they're inches away from having that fourth down stop, right? So personally, to me, I just thought the defense has looked good overall. And I think the DBs are the position unit that's probably going to shine the most. Yeah, I mean, those are kind of just my questions and answers. I don't really have a question or answer for the special teams specifically. I just think we need to see more. But yeah, I would say, if anyone has questions, I would love to answer them. And I think it's kind of in the discussion. If there's anyone who disagrees with what I have to say or has their opinions, I'd love to hear it. So, drop any kind of comments you want. Please like and subscribe. I'm hoping to do more of these, videos just discussing where they are as a team. I will be following this team throughout the year, and seeing how they improve. And these predictions or thoughts could change dramatically in a week or two, but this is just kind of how I see it. And, I'm just so excited for the season. Can't wait to do more of these. And thank you for tuning in.